The theory I want to talk to you about today is Chris Argyris' personality and organization theory of 1957. It was a behavioral leadership theory for the workplace environment. A few things about Chris Argyris is he was a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. He attended Clark University and received a degree in psychology in 1947. He was the director of the Monitor Company at Cambridge. He was a professor at Yale University and Harvard Business School. He was the author of Personality and Organization, which is what we're going to talk about today. And then he was praised for his seminal work of learning organizations. With an aim to influence management and employees in companies, Argyris published Personality and Organization in 1957. Within this, he focused on organizational learning and success of the leader's ability to achieve synchronization between his or her vision and goals with the subordinates or employee perception of tolerance for the vision of these goals. Basically, he wanted to make it so that the entire company was one team working towards goals together to get rid of some of the employees that were disconnected or not in line with the company, or the company wasn't helping them. So through this publication, he basically claimed there was a disconnect between the management practices and the adult personality. Essentially, adults in the workplace needed to be more responsible, needed less guidelines, and they needed their own opportunities to create and develop their own goals and work towards personal potential. Organizations also needed to help their employees mature or grow. By doing this, the company could grow because they were helping their employees grow. With this maturity became the maturity theory. It was a development of maturity in humans as processed along a continuous break of an immature situation to a mature situation. Basically, mature people are characterized for being active, independent, self-confident, and self-controlled. Alternatively, an immature person is going to be passive, dependent, lacks confidence, and needs to control others. So the maturity theory is further broken down by Argyris, who claimed that there needed to be 7 changes in which a person needed to make to influence their personality to be mature. You had to go from being immature of passive to active. You had to go from being dependent to independent, behave in a few ways to being capable of behaving in many ways, be erratic with shallow interests to being deep with strong interests, have a short-term perspective on an immature level to becoming mature and having a long-term perspective. You had to be in a subordinate position and become equal or superordinate. You had a lack of self-awareness, or you would gain awareness and self-control in the mature side of things. So to apply this theory, we have to look at the leaders and the managers, and this is part of the aspect in which Argyris thought there was a disconnect, because the leaders of an organization are there to help guide the persons to maturity. So by guiding them to maturity, they can do better things with their job. They can set their own goals, in which could potentially be greater than what the company could have set, and they can all work towards the equal company goals. On the other side of things, managers brought about some disconnect in the sense that they might feel threatened by their employees, because the employees were becoming smarter and doing things on their own, then what was the point of having a manager? And that is actually a reason why sometimes this theory is still not used today. So here's a good example of the guy in red's holding the bridge, and that could be our leader. And that leader is helping bridge the gap from being immature and the 7 levels of maturity to being mature on the right-hand side. So within gaining this maturity, we have to look at the self-perception in the workplace. The self-perception can be divided into 2 theories. Now, these theories continued to grow and to expand as he lived, although I'm going to talk about his initial theory in a little bit after 1957. And so we have the 2 theories, which are the theory in use and the theory in action, or the espoused theory. The theory in use, it suggests that given a basic scenario dealing with organizational norms, cultures, or values in a stable environment, an individual's outcome can be forecasted and predicted. This implies there is an implicit acknowledgement of what we should do as leaders and managers. That is, the person's predicted answers are conducive to the behavior and effort expected in the organization. So basically, this is how people perceive themselves. So if the organization wanted someone to be smart, diligent, and good with their time, then the employee might also think that they are being smart, diligent, and good with their time. However, that is how the employee wants to be perceived, and that's how they think their own actions are. Contrary to the theory in use, we have the theory in action, or the espoused theory. As we look at this theory, it's those activities that occur in the organization that are dissimilar from the predicted theories in use. So basically, this is what is really happening. So maybe instead of being motivated and highly organized for a person in terms of the use theory, in the action, other people view this worker as potentially disorganized, unmotivated, lazy. And so it's what is really happening in the workplace. So if an organizational norms and behaviors call for a multicultural workforce and the person hired reflect only one gender or race, there could be a disconnect between organizational goals and organizational outcomes. In this case, the two may not be in synchrony. Overall, the goal is to improve how employees are treated and motivated to create a highly functioning business.